Hello, hi, I'm Gabe. Welcome to the last vlog that I'm gonna do for Path of Light in my wee house, because we're moving home, me and my wife, and we are gonna be living somewhere else from next week onwards, which brings me a lot of joy, not because I don't like this house, but it's because it was supposed to be temporary and it lasted way too long because of COVID. And I'm sure many of you can relate to the situation in which oneself can be finding that they made plans and then a pandemic just kind of screwed them over. Anyways, what I wanted to talk for this vlog is something that's very dear and close to my heart for Path of Light. The reason why the game I'm making is called Path of Light. I don't want to bore you too much with it in the beginning of the video, so I'm just gonna show you what the new changes are first, which include a hub and levels and something more than just the arena. You're still fighting drones and droids, and the same drones and droids, although there is a new model for the droid. Drone for the drone. Anyways, that's pretty much it. There's some new stuff and I'm gonna get you through it, but for who's interested, I want to say after the video is finished what Path of Light means to me, and I want to tell you exactly why I'm making Path of Light, what it means to me in the sense of the psychological journey that brought me to understanding myself a bit better through making the game Path of Light. So let's begin. First things first, now we have a hub level and hands. I've made a particular shader for that cost me a lot of time, but also wasn't really worth it, so I kind of changed it, but it doesn't matter too much. I've got a hub level where you can select areas by just entering into cell doors. The interactions are still a bit finicky, but I'll work on that. Each cell represents a level, and each level has a name. Now, there's actual levels, so you have an area here, for example, in which as soon as you open the lightsaber, a trigger activates and you know that you can move forward. You can dash, as we already know, and once you get into position, then a drone is gonna come up. So you can see that the drone are now different. They have a really nice 3D model for them that I got on the asset store, and as per usual, you kill them and there's a nice explosion effect. Now here, there's a little bit of a bug. There's supposed to be a droid appearing in front of you, but instead it appears on the back, and the poor thing just gets off the navigation mesh and doesn't know exactly how to get to you, but it's commendable, definitely commendable when it comes to the effort that it puts into fighting. Unfortunately, we best him, and we can now move into the next level. Back into our prison cell. We have our instructions to the right, and the next level is called Sorrow. At the right of these levels, there's the Endless Arena, which is the usual arena that you always had in the beginning, but now it's a level on its own. As I said, I think I mentioned that the interactions are a bit finicky, have I? Well, I feel like I really should mention that they are finicky. Next level starts exactly like the first, and here I'm just having a lot of fun with the physics engine, I gotta say. I don't know if I'm fond of this lightsaber trail thing or not. Not that they're called lightsabers, of course, they're called conduits. But I'm really not sure. Here I just don't wait for the droid, there's no point, just go in. And there's more, because this is the second level, called Sorrow. And in Sorrow, there's multiple drones that you have to fight. Unfortunately, we still have the same issue that you'll see in a second, because, well, the last drone is taking a while, so I lose a bit of patience. I just go for a bingo bango. The gates open, and we are facing our biggest enemy, the spawning system. Again, it's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, and here we are in a fight with multiple enemies that spawn in there instead of... You know, I know exactly why this is happening, and it bothers me that I didn't fix it for this demo, but I only had a limited time to work on it, unfortunately. It will be fixed by next time, absolutely, and I'm thinking of adding something else as well, in the vein of a minimap, probably, because I'm thinking that you should know where all the enemies are at any given time, specifically when they are mixed together. Not necessarily now, We can absolutely fast forward here because we don't need to see all the stuff. This is just unnecessary. So here we are, we kill the last enemy, and once the last enemy is dead, I think I'm just gonna go and have a stab at the Endless, the arena. Nice part here, you just walk to the gate opens up, fades out, you are the good old arena. The arena as well, I have some pictures that I'm showing now on the screen that I think you'll really like. It doesn't take long to make something nice when the assets are nice, and credit where credit is due. These assets do cost some money, but they are worth it. Absolutely worth it. But you can already see some of the problems highlighted in the Path of Light builds that you've seen before. It just takes forever for these droids to do anything, and there is no wind-up animation, there's no sound. I'm thinking of implementing some sound that will tell you exactly where these droids are coming from, like, you know, because there's positional audio, and when they're gonna shoot, something like do-do-do-do-do, pew, stuff like that. Exactly like the drones have when you actually go and attack them. Anyways, jump cut to the end of the level. Here I die again for the same usual problem of not knowing when the drone is gonna attack and not knowing when the droid is gonna attack. So you end up in a situation which you're, you know, mixed with both, and bam, you're dead. And that's pretty much it for what concerns the gameplay of Path of Light up to here and the new implementations of the new stuff. Now, I cannot stress how proud I am that you made it this far, because I know how my voice can be boring, but especially since I'm in the middle of moving and I am very stressed and very tired, as you can probably tell from my eyes. But that's also a very important part to consider, the state of mind of who makes the games, who makes the art. I consider video games art, as many do, and there is no art without the artist, you know? So let's talk about Path of Light and when I started making Path of Light. I started after a couple of years ago. We made it to EGX with a game called Dr. Dad's Home for Disposable Clones. We were really proud. We were a very tight team, or at least I like to think that we were. We did our best to stay on top of the game, and the game was not easy. And I am obviously not talking about the game itself as a medium of entertainment and enjoyment. I'm talking about the game of making games. You know, all the participation to the competitions and applying and trying to get grants and the studio going and trying to get some money in and all that jazz that nobody really considers. But if you want to be a game developer, you have to consider. You have to consider how you're gonna eat. You have to consider how your morale is gonna be up. And well, mine wasn't up at all, and nobody else's was at the time when we lost. We didn't make it. We didn't get funding, and the team disappeared, and everything went just down the drain. You know, lots of experience, lots of good memories, and great times were had. But that was it. That was it for Deep Fried Games. The next step was for everybody a different step. I am very happy to say that some of us have made it, and I want to give a shout out to Chimera Tales, to my good friends Thomas and Mate, who are with their team, or part of the team. Well, I mean, they're in a team that won Transfuser this year, and I'm very happy for them. And they made it, Thomas being a designer and Mate being an amazing artist. And that was good for them, and some other took different directions. And me personally, I went to China, and I went as a lecturer there. I have been lecturing at university in Changde, which is a little town of 6 million people in China, very common. And I was happy, and everything was going great, but we came back. Me and my at the time girlfriend, we came back, we stayed here, the pandemic started, and I had to find a job that was not at all related to games. I found a job as a front-end developer first in React, and then as a back-end developer and other stuff and full stack, and it was a very good learning experience, but it dragged down all my energies. I was pretty much dead inside. And that's why I started Path of Light. I dropped all the projects I was working on, and they were many projects I was working on, and I just focused on making this game because I wanted to make video games, and I wanted to make VR video games because that's my passion. So I did that. And after I started, I realized in a conversation with my mother that I was doing something more than just making a video game. My mother's a psychologist, and she was talking about one of her patients in a very, professional manner. She never releases details about the patient, but she said something that really stuck with me, that this patient of hers was an artist, and in all of the art pieces that were produced by this patient, there always was a chain. There was always some kind of ligament that would tie things, and that was a reflection of the mental state of this patient. So I looked at Path of Light and I was like, wait a second, I'm making a game about the pointlessness, the Sisyphean pointlessness of pushing a rock up a hill and then seeing it fall at the end of the day. I'm just creating my life in game form. You just have enemies that pop out all around the place, and you fight them, and you win, and you then go into another enemy, and then into another, and then each enemy is a new problem, is a new task, and each time you lose. There is no winning Path of Light. Path of Light is a game about staying alive until you die, staying afloat. You can never win Path of Light. It's an arcade game, so to speak, but what it really is me, my state of mind. What I'm doing with my life. I tackle problems and then I pile them up, and I tackle more problems and more problems until I die. So that's why Path of Light became something else. That's why Path of Light now has hidden areas that I'm not going to tell you much about, but that are very important to me, and they may mean nothing to you, but that's the nature of art, the death of the artist, so to speak. I don't think there's anything more to add to Path of Light. The game as it is finished, and I am gonna work on adding a few quality of life improvements, such as a radar for the enemies, for example, or maybe better dashing, because now you can dash into the enemies and kill yourself. Or I'm definitely gonna be working on the art. I'm definitely gonna be working on the art to make it better and prettier and snazzier and all the fancy words that mean that you're gonna like it better and I'm gonna like it better. But this is the end of the journey for Path of Light. I'm gonna be secretly working on a few features that you're not gonna be aware of, and it's gonna be released very soon. So I'm happy to report that it's been a very great journey, and it's gonna be a journey that I'm gonna get to the end, which is not very common for me or game developers in general. Starting a project is easy, finishing a project is all the job. So thank you very much for staying with me, along the road with me for this journey, and thank you very much for listening to my ramblings and rants. Thank you very much for taking interest in Path of Light, and I will not disappoint you, or maybe I will, who knows. But in any case, you'll be soon able to play Path of Light, and I'm gonna be very happy to share my world within with you. Goodbye, and see you next time.